El exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 171 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Let's Wasa. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're new. Also, hit me on all my socials. Comment, enjoy, interact with me. All right, we got it. We got the Super Bowl matchup, and I did go 2-0 this weekend for the third year in a row. Listen, let me just start off by saying, if you turn the ball over in the playoffs, they will come back to bite you. We saw it with the Lions, we saw it with the Ravens, and now we saw it with the Commanders. I'm not going to say we saw it with the Chiefs, because even though they had a fumble, they won the game. Okay? Now, if I'm being very honest, If I'm just thinking about these last two games that we saw, Saquon had a first touch, 60-yard touchdown after breaking 3 tackles on a toss play to the left. Cut it back all the way back to the right after he broke the tackles to get to the end zone. That made it 7-3 after the Commanders had an 18-yard drive that they converted 2 fourth downs, and then on 4th and 2, or like on a 4th and 3, they decided from like inside the 20, they decided we're going to take the points and take the 3. If you already went for it twice, and one of them was a 4th and 5, and you're moving the ball down the field, don't you think it's smart to go for it again, especially inside the 20? Now, what happened? That builds a little bit of momentum. You show that you can move the ball. But what also happens is that they come back first play and you're down 7-3. And the thing that I noticed the whole game that I expected, because Jayden is so good, is that in reality, the Eagles couldn't stop the Commanders. The Commanders' offense was clicking. What happened was they fumbled 3 times. De'Ami Brown got it stripped by Zach Bond. Eckler got it stripped by Oren Burks. And then I believe the last one was on a kickoff. Now, they were in the game. They were in the game for most of the game, but it ended up 55-23 because of the turnovers, the constant turnovers, back-to-back drives with fumbles while they're driving. This is not just like, 3rd and long. They're not. No, this is driving. This is in Eagle territory. But the Eagles are the most talented team in the NFL. When you look at the Eagles, on offense and defense, what you see is all pro talent. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith Jr., Darius Slay, Quinton Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, CJ GJ, Reid Blankenship, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, Bryce Huff, Jordan Davis. And then on the offensive side, you got Saquon, Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Cam Jurgens, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. It's a plethora and a abundance of talent. And the Commanders are just not there talent-wise. If I asked any of you, name me 5 people that play for the Commanders, you probably say Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Now, I would say Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Mikey Sanders still, and then you could say Marcus Lattimore or Marshawn Lattimore. But that's not going to cut it against guys that are legit all-pros and Pro Bowlers. And that's what happened. In addition to the turnovers, that Commanders defense just couldn't hold up. First 2 touches for Saquon were touchdowns. One was a 60-yarder. The other one was like a 5-yarder. Then you have Jalen Hurts to worry about. Saquon got 3 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts got 3 rushing touchdowns. And then Will Shipley also ran one in. 7 rushing touchdowns in a game, being the NFC Championship. It's never been done since the 1930s. And 7 touchdowns is all that Dallas Cowboys had all season. Because they suck. And we know that. Just like them hiring Brian Schottenheimer. You know, I love his dad. I love Marty. RP. But he's never been a head coach. He's never called plays, especially for the Cowboys. What does Jerry want? Control. You know what control leads to? Losing. That's why Dan Snyder is no longer an owner. That's why David Tepper had to be hands off. That's why John Mara, unfortunately, should fire his GM. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with Woody Johnson. As an owner, if you try to control the football team, you will lose. That is not a building culture. Okay? You want to build culture? Hire Mike Vrabel. You want to build culture? Hire a Pete Carroll. Hire a Sean Payton. A Jim Harbaugh. That's how you build culture. A Dan Campbell. Andy Reid. Okay? They don't fall out of trees, but when you got a shot at them, shout out to the Raiders and Tom Brady for hiring Pete Carroll. Shout out to the Patriots for hiring Mike Vrabel. Now, for the Bears and Ben Johnson, it's all going to be about Caleb. Can he build a offense for Caleb? And before any of it with Caleb starts, it has to be the offensive line. The Bears have to go into this draft and just go offensive line heavy. Center, tackles, guards. Need it. And then a running back. And then from there, you can go on defense. But your defense is pretty good. The Saints are the only team without a head coach. Mike McCarthy has pulled his name out. Cliff Kingsbury has pulled his name out. Right now, the favorite is Kellen Moore. Currently the offensive coordinator for the Eagles that are heading to the Super Bowl. So as soon as they lose or win in the Super Bowl, they would have an in-person interview and see if that goes. I think that's going to be the hire, because if Mike McCarthy, who would have been my pick, if you want to build a culture, that would have been my pick. He pulled his name out of the race and is just going to wait till next year. Then, I think Kellen Moore would be your best bet. I saw him at college at Boise State. Saw him be a quarterback. I've seen him be an OC at Dallas with Dak. Now I see him be an OC at the Eagles with Saquon. He's developed himself to a pretty good play caller on both sides, whether running or passing. Good scheme, kind of rudimentary because you have a Saquon. Same thing with when he was in Dallas because he had a CD. But nonetheless, a very good play caller. Now, can he be a head coach? We'll see. We'll see. As for Aaron Glenn, he's a culture establisher. But in the Jets, you have giant problems. First of all, let's start with Aaron Rodgers. I saw Aaron Rodgers at the end of this season. The beginning of this season, I feel like he was still dealing with the Achilles and the confidence to push off the leg, to use his legs. As the season went on, he got better, obviously, as the injury recovers better and he gains more confidence on the leg. Now, he's going to be 39, almost 40. Coming off the second year off an Achilles. I like the offensive personnel. I believe the line could play better than they are. Maybe you can add a piece on the line. But Breece Hall, Devontae Adams, and Garrett Wilson, to me, is a solid offense to build around. Not to mention Alan Lazard, or if you draft another receiver. Wouldn't mind that. On the defensive side, Aaron Glenn should be happy. When you have a Quinnen Williams, when you have a Quincy Williams, when you have a Sauce Gardner, a DJ Reid. Yes, Hassan Reddick is old, I believe, but you have Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. So right there, I don't see any issue with that defense. So if I'm Aaron Glenn, the first thing I need to get situated is what am I doing at the quarterback position? Am I starting Jordan Travis coming off a broken leg out of FSU? Is he going to be any good? Are we just going to use him as a backup? Do I go after a Sam Darnold? Do I go after a Kirk Cousins? I don't advise it. That would be two guys on Achilles injuries back to back. I just wouldn't recommend that. So you have to decide what you want to do. Do you want to draft somebody? Are you a team that would look at a Jalen Milroe, at a Quinn Ewers, at a Jackson Dart, who's going up draft boards? Maybe a Dylan Gabriel, although I think the Dolphins should look at that. He reminds me a little bit of Tua. He's also short, but he has a better arm. Okay? More mobile because he doesn't have a hip injury or concussion history. So all those things for Aaron Glenn and the Jets is what I'm picturing. As for the Raiders and Pete Carroll, I'm not worried about a team playing hard. I'm not worried about a team wanting to play for him. That is going to be automatic. This is Pete Carroll. The cachet's there. The championships are there, whether in college or the NFL, and the wins are there. What I'm worried about the Raiders is what are you going to do at the quarterback position? Are you going to hope and pray that Shedeur lands to you or Cam Ward? Or would you be a type another team that would take a chance on a Jalen Milroe, on a Jackson Dart, on a Quinn Ewers, on a Riley Leonard? Would you be confident enough that you can develop such a prospect? For example, if you take Jalen Milroe, you take probably the best athlete in the draft at the quarterback position, and it's not even close. A guy that's probably going to run a 4.4 at the combine. Going to have a cannon of an arm. Now, can you get him consistently accurate and going through his progressions? If you take a guy like a Jackson Dart, you probably have the best natural thrower in the class, but you have to develop him as a true quarterback. Going through progressions. He can run as well. Good size. A Quinn Ewers, you don't have the arm strength, but you have the moxie. You maybe as he is fully healthy, he can show you. It's going to be Quinn Ewers is going to be a lot about the combine. The tape is going to be up and down. Quinn Ewers is going to be about the combine. Jackson Dart's played a lot of football. Jalen Milroe's played a lot of football. Jalen Milroe is going to get people are going to get enamored by his legs. This guy's legit probably one of the fastest guys in the draft as a quarterback. He is legit strong. Cannon. Got to rein in the progression. Can he read his progressions at the next level? Not just go from one. No one, I'm taking off. And can you get rid of the inaccuracy? The deep ball is really nice, but the inaccuracy. And a guy like Riley Leonard, can you teach him how to throw? Are you confident enough? This is like a Josh Allen-esque type of player. I don't know about the arm as much as Josh Allen, but he is a Josh Allen-esque type of quarterback. Size, running ability, just the way he uses his body. You need to teach him how to throw. How to be accurate, how to be confident, because that's what I didn't see in the national championship. It was a lot of running the first half, and then the second half, he had no choice but to throw, and he looked good. But can you get him to go through his progressions and actually be accurate? Those, to me, are the top 6 prospects. Cam Ward, Shedeur, Quinn, Jackson, Jalen, Riley. Not in that order. If you ask me, the best quarterback in this class on both sides, if I'm thinking about creativity and arm strength and accuracy, I would take Cam Ward. If I was the Tennessee Titans, I would take Cam Ward. But there's also rumblings that they're looking at possibly the best player on the board. And if we're talking about the best 2 players in this draft period, no question, before we get to Ashton Genty, it's Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. So it's either you get a difference maker on whether you draft them as a DB or draft them as a wide receiver, or you get an absolute freak on the edge. A guy that's going to test out of this world at the combine. Probably around a 4.4 in the 40. Can bend with the best. Basically a copy of Micah and probably maybe better. Maybe. He can do a lot of things. He's a little thinner than Micah. Micah was an absolute physical specimen, but this kid wore number 11 at Penn State for a reason. Okay? As for the running backs, it's a stacked class. Not just Ashton Genty, not just Scatterbo. You have Rocket Saunders from South Carolina. You have Omarion from North Carolina. You have Tosh Brooks from Texas Tech. You have Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. So you have a lot of variety. Cam Scatterbo, Ashton, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. And a plethora more. Yeah, Neal from Kansas. You have the kid Williams from SMU. So there is a lot to like about this running back class. The only class that's it's quarterback and receiver. Yes, you have Travis. Yes, you have Tretonoa from Arizona. I think the biggest riser is going to be Jimmy Horn. What he's been doing at the Senior Bowl is big, lot of separation, running crisp routes, 4.4, 4.3 speed, good hands. So Jimmy's going to definitely, I think, rocket himself up first 2 rounds for sure, especially after his combine. He's the type of guy where you look at a 40 and you look at a combine drill, at a gauntlet drill, And that's where you make your bones about him, and even the 10-yard shuttle and quickness. Let's change the direction. I think Jimmy's going to be a big flyer up. Tez Johnson, I think, is going to be a big flyer up. Kid from Oregon. I think that kid is really good. Isaiah Bond, I think, is going to show out. He might not run the fastest, but he's probably going to be one of the smoothest receivers. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. And then it's a really good DN class, really good offensive line class, and a solid, not great, but a solid DB class. Starting with Travis Hunter, then you got Will Johnson, and then you got a couple more going down the line from smaller schools. Let's get into these games. Let's talk a little bit more about that NFC Championship. In reality, the Commanders were playing with house money. They made it to the NFC Championship after a dumpster fire since RG3. Dan Snyder's out. You bring in Josh Harris. You bring in the brain trust with Magic Johnson. And you start building a football team. Dan Quinn was a great hire. Cliff Kingsbury was a great hire. Frankie Louvu was a great addition. Bobby Wagner was a great addition. Austin Eckler was a great addition. You added solid guy. Lattimore, I think, will be better next year. A.J. Brown kind of cooked them on a fourth down. I don't know why you would play man-to-man on A.J. Brown on the boundary on fourth down when you're about to get off the field. I don't understand. I would put C.J. G.J. over the top just because. I mean, C.J. G.J., what am I talking about? That's on the Eagles side. I would put a safety over the top or double him with Mikey. Then after that, Mikey got cooked in the end zone because he had inside leverage on an out-breaking route, and that just doesn't work. Not against A.J. Brown. I mean, it was a great route, but you cannot, if you have inside leverage and you see him kind of setting up, you're vulnerable on the outside, and the guy's 6'2". And then you let him get off the line. You didn't jam him. I know that Mikey versus AJ jamming wise, but Mikey gets in there. If not, I would have put Marshawn on him and then really jammed him. At least stabbed him. But you let him get off the line, have a two-way go, and then he cooks you on the out route. That was Jalen Hurts' only passing touchdown. AJ woke up again. He had 96 yards and a touchdown. Devontae had some nice catches. Dallas Goedert was really, really, really intricate part of the offense. After the 60 yards, Saquon, he only got 118. He only ended up with 118. So he got 58 yards after that first play. So if I'm the Commanders, I feel good about what I did with Saquon. That first play, we missed tackles. That's what it was. Why did the Commanders lose this? Yes, there were the fumbles, but there were some real dumb-ass penalties. On Mikey Sanders still. Hitting a Saquon on the outside 15 yards after you already had him on a 3rd and 9 and stopped him. That was big. Marshawn Lattimore getting into it with A.J. Brown, thinking he's Mike Evans. They hit him with a 15-yard penalty. 1st and goal at the 1. A bad pass interference against Marshawn on a 3rd down. Bad pass interference. The first one, yes, against Ertz, against Goddard, should have been called. I understand he was wrapped all over him. That second one, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then on the other side, that offensive line, especially without Sam Cosmi, they could not block Jalen Carter. Nolan Smith is a problem. he lined up so outside that he was in front of the receiver and still hit the corner so hard and sacked Jayden. So if I'm the Commanders coming out of this game, I'm encouraged, but I'm also knowing if I'm Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and the front office, I know what I need. I need offensive linemen, and I need another difference maker on the outside. I could keep De'Ami Brown, but I cannot live and die with Jamison Crowder and Olamide Zaccheaus. I can't do that. I like Zach Ertz. He's getting a little older. Maybe draft a tight end. There's two there's two studs in this class. Tyler Warren and the kid from Notre Dame. Really good. Okay, Tyler Warren's a different type of animal. He might be there, though. I think he's going first round, but he might be there to take for Washington. Maybe trade up to try to get him. If not, I would take a guy like Emeka Egbuka. I would take a guy maybe like Jimmy Horn or a Tez Johnson. Give me a different dimension. It's not just Scary Terry where he can do everything, but he's mostly a deep threat. He likes going deep. He can catch the slants and the screens and everything. But I need a separator. If I'm Jayden Daniels, I'm asking for a separator. I need a guy that if he does an out route or an in cut, he's getting 4 to 5 yards of separation. A la Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that type of receiver. Emeka Egbuka is more the Amon-Ra St. Brown type. Tez and Jimmy have a little bit more juice. A little bit more wiggle. Okay? That's what I'm looking at the Commanders. And then, of course, my offensive line. Possibly another running back. Second, third round. Maybe I take an Omarion. A little speed. You know? Or you can take a Scattaboo. For me, personally, I would take a Travion Henderson. The speed to put with Brian Robinson would be a nice 1-2 punch, kind of like that Montgomery Jahmyr Gibbs type. Not that Travion Henderson is Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is insane. But the speed is there. He's even going to be like a 4-4 guy at the running back position. So if I'm Washington, I'm definitely looking at that. Another thing I'm looking at is safety and corner. I like Mikey. Need another solid corner. First round, if he's there, I take Will Johnson. I need a number one. I need a number one corner. I need a number one and a number one. I need a number one on one side. I like Mikey. I think he's going to develop into a great corner, and I need another number one. I need to be able to look across to CeeDee Lamb, to A.J. Brown, to Malik Neighbors, and that's just my division. This is not even thinking about Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans. We'll see what Xavier Leggett turns into. Drake London, a Jayden Reid, a guy like DJ Moore. I need to be able to put a number one and not be scared to put him on an island. Another thing you need edges. You guys need edges. You have Jonathan Allen, you have Daron Payne. You guys need legit edges. I would go after a guy like Walker from Georgia. That kid is insane. Abdul Carter's not going to be there. So if I would take a guy that I can, if I put a one-on-one, and he's gonna boost, he's gonna jump up draft boards. He's gonna be a freak in the combine. Jalen Walker, I believe his name is Jalen Walker. Don't quote me on that, but I believe the Georgia edge is called Jalen Walker. Another guy I would look at is Xavier Watts. Malachi Starks from Georgia. That's another guy I would look at. There's no Caleb Downs, so we can't take him. But Malachi Starks and Xavier Watts, Jalen Walker. Like, I would look for a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball, whether it's on the back end or on that line, especially the edges. We need to get after the quarterbacks. No other choice. Okay. Let's talk about the AFC Championship. Absolute classic, 32-29, Kansas City Chiefs. As I said, what happened this game? Besides the stopping on fourth down, the stopping on the 2-point conversion, I don't know why the Bills went for two. If you do not have a legit play call for a 4th and 2, which is basically what a 2-point conversion is, from the 2-yard line, one shot, you either get the points or you don't get the points. When Tony Romo was on the broadcast after the first tush push and said, the Chiefs told us in the production meeting that Josh Allen on the QB sneak or the tush push, their version of the tush push, always goes left. That is coaching. Sean McDermott and Joe Brady got out-coached. Josh Allen didn't get outplayed. Josh Allen played great, like he always does. But Sean McDermott and Joe Brady got out-coached. Why do they get out-coached? Because you're facing Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. That is going to be a mismatch against anybody. There's no Bill Belichick left in this league. Yes, I take him over Sean Payton. Yes, I take him over Harbaugh. Yes, I take him over Shanahan. I've seen it. I've seen him mincemeat them. First drive for the Bills. They get the ball first. Of course, Kansas City defers. Smart play. Try to dominate that middle 8. That last 4 of the first half, first 4 of the 8 of the second half. That's where games are usually won, right there. You might think it's in the 4th, but when you do your legwork early and you build your lead, it serves better in the second half once that middle 8 is dominated. Usually that's what Bill Belichick used to do with the Patriots. He would dominate the middle 8, score right before the half, score right after the half. Build yourself a 2-score cushion without the other team even getting the ball. Okay? That's what you would want to do. Okay? First half differential is the biggest determining factor of Super Bowl champions in the last, 20 years. That's a stat from Lombardi. Michael Lombardi, which is one of the masterminds of the Patriots dynasty. And was in the front office with Bill Walsh when the 49ers and the Raiders. Okay? First drive by the Bills. Tight. Josh, almost 2 picks, back-to-back throws. Into team meetings. They fooled him. 3 and out. And then what happened next? Kansas City went straight down the field and scored 7. I mean, straight down the field. No stoppage, nothing. Bink, 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 touchdown. Right then and there, I already knew that the Chiefs were going to win that game. Why? Because the moment is not nothing to them. This is the 3rd go-round for some of these guys. This is the 4th go-round for the legit dudes. And not that they're... What I mean by that is like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Mahomes. Fourth time around. Seventh time around in this game. You know, I say fourth time because of Super Bowls. In this game, seventh time around. This is not affecting them. This is just a game. We just out-execute you and take advantage of what you give us. This game was supposed to be a blowout. It was 21-10. Then the fumble happened. Once the fumble happened, which was uncharacteristic by Mahomes, he got hit. He got hit by Ed Oliver, I believe. Fumbled. They recovered. Bills fumbled it 5 times. Recovered it every single time. This would have been an absolute massacre if any of those balls bounced into Kansas City. Now, as for McDermott calling the same play on fourth down 3 times, you have James Cook. What are you doing? You have Khalil Shakir, one of the best sure-handed receivers in the league, young receivers in the league. What are you doing? You have a monster in Matt Collins that caught the only 2 big passes of this game. One was against Trent McDuffie over great coverage, draped all over him. Josh just dropped a dime ball on him. And then the other one was basically like a Gabe Davis inside seam. They're playing man-to-man, outside leverage, and they, no safety help. That was simple. Got it to the 5, scored. This game, Amari, non-existent. They threw the ball on 3rd and 10 to him to try to get the first down on an all-out blitz by Spags. And Karlaftis noticed it, peeled off, made the tackle after he got 5 yards. That led to the 4th and 5. Before we get to the 4th and 5, which was a defensive masterclass by Spags, but a great play by Josh Allen at the same time, just didn't come to fruition on the catch end. Let's talk about the tush push on the 4th down. Dalton Kincaid's knee came down before that ball crossed the line on 3rd. Again, doing the QB sneak to the left side. When you see everybody stacked up on that left side, Chris Jones, Mike Dana, Pennell, every single big, large man pause on that left side. And then he tries to go, on that one, he kept it in the tuck. Listen, how spotting the football works is usually who can see the football is the spot that they choose. The guy on the far side that thought he crossed over couldn't see the football. Okay? He couldn't see it. He could see it a brief moment, but all he could see was his head. Okay? When he start getting stopped, that he got turned around, and then the opposite side judge is looking at it. He's short. The ball was short. No, but I think it 3/4 got over. At the end of the day, when the spot is that close and it got reviewed by New York, wasn't challenged, wasn't nothing, got reviewed by New York, the call's going to stand. Whichever it was, if it was a first down or if it was short like it was, the call would have stood. It was too close. Now, I understand trying to put a chip in the ball, not using the chain gang, not using the judgment of the referees. I know that he came. Justin Reid stood in front of him while he was walking. Then he had to take a detour and his foot moved. Listen, that game was not lost on that play because they still had the lead. It was 29-28. I mean, no. 29-28 or 22-21. Now I have to go back to the... I've been doing all this without the box score because I remember the game, but that little detail threw me a little off. So I'm going to check. I believe it was 22-21, but it might be mistaken. It might have been 28-29. That might have been right before, because they were in Chiefs territory when that fourth down happened. The fourth down. $22. Yeah. Sorry, my girlfriend called me. That's why I stay quiet sometimes when I look down on my phone. That was a 4th and 6. No. I'm looking down here. 21, 22 downs. Left guard for no gain. The replay official repeated the short ruling. All right. 22-21. So the game was still in the balance. We're talking about the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's the beginning of the fourth quarter. 22-21. What happens next is KC goes down and scores on a Mahomes run, I believe it was. Yeah. Mahomes right end, 10 yards, 2-point conversion to Justin Watson, which people are not talking about that 2-point conversion. That 2-point conversion was so important. It was 27-22. That's still a 6-point game. 5-point game. They needed to make it 7. They needed to make it 7. And the way that they did that 2-point conversion, Patrick finding Justin Watson on a crosser on the back of the end zone and nobody says anything, I think that was a big play. Because then the Bills go down and they score on the Mac Hollins pass, I believe. No, the Curtis Samuel pass on the back of the end zone on 4th and goal. That's another big play. That was 4th and goal. Great play by Josh. He was getting pressured, and Curtis got open because they didn't go with him because he came across the formation on the crosser in the back of the end zone, and Josh found him right before he got sacked. So that's 29-29. They kick instead of going for 2. Then comes the Kansas City field goal, which was a win for the Bills because they were driving and then Harrison Phillips walks back Caliendo. That's what's going to be kind of, iffy about the offensive line, that inside left guard spot that Tooney's going to be not occupying because he's going to be a left tackle, who's played great as the last 2 games. So Caliendo gets walked back by Harrison Phillips, and they get a field goal because they get knocked back. It was 3rd. I'll tell you right now. It was 2nd and goal. It was 3rd and goal. No, incomplete. Mahomes, he got sacked on 1st and goal for -7 yards, and then they just couldn't. Incomplete to Xavier Worthy, and then incomplete. Ed Oliver batted it down, and they hit the field goal, 35-yarder by Harrison Buckner. 32-29. 32-29. A minute and 3 minutes and 33 seconds left with all 3 timeouts. This is the moment that you do the drive. This is the moment that you take it away from them. This is your chance. What happens in the biggest moment on the road? Try to get the monkey off your back. Lost to him 3 times in a row. In this same spot, in divisional or AFC championships, to go to the Super Bowl, what happens? Very simple. Ty Johnson, right end, -1 yard. Tried to run. Didn't happen. 2nd and 11. Josh scrambles right tackle. He gets 13 yards. He gets a first down. Okay? He gets a first down. 1st and 10. Josh incomplete. Pass to Khalil Shakir. Incomplete. 2nd and 10. Josh incomplete. Short to Curtis Samuel. Charles Omenihu hit it down. 3rd and goal. Third and 10. Josh Allen passed short to the right on an all-out blitz to Amari Cooper, where Karlaftis goes back, peels back, because there was nobody there. McDuffie was getting blocked. Connor was about to get blocked by the pulling guard, and he was off to the races. Karlaftis peels back, tackles him by the shoestrings. He gets 5 yards. We get to the infamous 4th and 5. I told my dad on 3rd down, Spags will blitz. What'd he do? Send an all-out blitz, a jailbreak. They had the correct play call being the screen, except Karlaftis noticed it and peeled back. Great play by Karlaftis. Great instinct. Film study. 4th and 5. You run an orbit motion with Khalil Shakir. He's open on the flat, but that is your man beater. The reason Josh didn't react is because the motion didn't move the defense. And that was probably purposeful to keep the blitz under wraps and not give away that they were playing man and that they were coming with pressure. Now, they were double mugging the A gap with Nick Bolton and Justin Reid. So you got to decide who's coming. Josh decides to slide the protection to the left at the line of scrimmage because you always slide the protection to the mic. The mic is Nick Bolton. He was on the left side. And this is great game planning by Spags. Spags, instead of putting somebody like Najee Johnson, who's known for blitzing, Jamari Connor, who's known for blitzing, or another corner on Keon on a tight split. No, he puts his best corner, one of the best corners in the NFL for 2-time first-team All-Pro in McDuffie to basically show Josh or try to get Josh sleeping because Josh ain't thinking that one of the best corners in the NFL in a 4th and 5 is coming. That's the genius of Spags. That's why Spags has 4 championships and is going for a 5th. That's why. Because he didn't run a corner blitz all game. He runs it only 19%. No, even less. I think he ran a corner blitz maybe 19% of the time all season, but it might be less. Forgot where I saw that stat. So on a 4th and 5, when he says, let me, I'm thinking Nick is coming. I'm thinking both are coming, but just Justin Reid and Trent come. Trent does not give away that he's blitzing. He's facing up, looking like he's playing man, like he's about to jam Keon. As soon as this snap happens, he takes off. He breaks the line in between Keon and the left tackle and the right tackle. And Justin, because the center slid to Nick, and Nick bailed. He didn't blitz. Justin already got through the line in the middle, so he was already chasing. And then George Karlaftis beat his block on the left tackle, on the right tackle. If you see the play, McDuffie's not even close to Josh. The first guy that gets to Josh is Justin. The guy who puts him on the ground is Karlaftis, I believe. Josh already puts out of his mind that it's zone, that it's not man. So he doesn't look at Khalil Shakir because that's his man beater. If it's zone, somebody's going to be over there. So he's already thinking it's zone. So he's not looking at the orbit motion and Khalil Shakir. That's when you still shoot it, the pass would have been easy. It would have been an easy completion. Now you're talking about Nick Bolton, fast as shit. The line peeling that way as soon as they see the ball go that way. And then the safety over the top. Would he have gotten those 5 yards? We never know. It's already behind the line of scrimmage 5 yards. So we have to get those 5 yards and then get the other 5 yards. And like I said, the best tackling team in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're fast. So all in all, Josh even finding Dalton Kincaid down there, even finding him, let alone letting the ball go and putting it in a spot where he could catch it, is incredible. But at the end of the day, it was a hard catch. It did go through his forearm. You can't really catch that. You have to really you have to catch it perfectly because it didn't go through both his hands. It went through the forearm. It went through here. So you basically have to catch it like that in one hand. So it wasn't as catchable as people are making it seem, especially he was diving and didn't expect the ball to come. Turnover on downs. You still have a shot. You have you still have 3 timeouts. What happens? Andy Reid. First down. 1 yard for Kareem Hunt. Okay, you stop him. Two timeout by Buffalo. 150. 150, plenty of time. This is at the Buffalo 46. Pat Mahomes, 2nd and 9. Short pass to Isaiah Pacheco. 10 yards. Boom, there's the first down. You got to take another timeout. Okay? Got to take another timeout. He got pushed out of bounds. You didn't have to take the timeout, but you took the timeout anyway because when they spot the ball, you don't want the clock to start running. So it's another first down. Pacheco up the middle, 1 yard. Okay, another 2nd and 9. Timeout. Last timeout by you, 138. You got to get the stop. Kareem Hunt, right tackle, no gain. You think they're going to run it again. 3rd and 9 at your 35. And what does Andy Reid do? Andy Reid goes back to the same play that he ran in the first half, except he didn't leak out. He didn't leak out the back. He didn't leak out the back. He got to the same formation through a motion. In the first half, he just had the formation out there, no motion. So he motions the 2 receivers. They get set. And you have a bunch outside on a tight split. Well, not much of a tight split, but it's like a mid bunch. It's between the numbers and the hash. You have a bunch out there. All the Bills defenders are in the middle of the field between the box. They're in the box because they're expecting run. The genius of Andy Reid is that he got you to look somewhere else instead of where you should have. He runs the motion to give Pat the indicator, is it man or zone? As soon as they knew it was man, the play was perfect. He runs he runs the bunch, not even in a route. He just runs them into basically the teeth of the box to create confusion and a wash. And then he takes Samaje Perine, runs them across on a little shallow, and Patrick hits him right in stride, right as he breaks the line of the box. So there's nobody directly in front of him as a linebacker. And then you leave one guy on the backside, Benford, to try to go get Benford got hurt. Man, was it Benford? Might have been Benford because Tyler Rapp got hurt. Benford, I think, got a concussion early in the game. As soon as they lost Benford and they put Kyer Elam, it was Raps. That was another thing. Don't show a weakness to the Chiefs because they're going to take advantage of it. And boy, did they. So Samaje Perine catches that. He goes up. 17 yards, gets pushed out of bounds. Game over. Nil. Going on to the Super Bowl for the third straight year and chance at the three-peat. Excuse me. Simple as that. The last play I got to talk about is listen, guys. The ball hit the ground. Ball didn't move. The tie always goes to the offensive player. Yes. The corner has both hands on the ball in the air. But as they're going down, you see Xavier Worthy trying to rip it out of him. And when they go to the ground, ball hits the ground, doesn't move a peep. And then Xavier Worthy has possession. Either way, one, they challenged it. It was upheld. And either way, if it wasn't challenged, if it was ruled incomplete, there was a defensive holding play. It would have been first down at the 20. You don't think Mahomes scores? They couldn't stop him. So what happens? Big play that people aren't talking about. After that play happens with Xavier Worthy, the Chiefs run a play, don't get no gain on it, would have been second and goal, but McDermott threw the flag. As soon as McDermott throws the challenge flag, it goes before the play. The play doesn't count. They get back to first and goal. And then they score. So it's all those intricate things. Didn't take advantage of the fumble because you didn't score on it. Now, the middle eight was something very important, and the Buffalo Bills neutralized the middle eight because Mahomes scores. It's 21 to 10. And then they're about to go score again. The fumble happens. And then the middle eight becomes a wash because Buffalo scores, but then they missed the 2-point conversion. So it's 16 to 21. Going to the half, I believe. It was 16 to 21 into the half. Let me tell you guys right now. I have it right here. End of quarter number 3, end of quarter number 2, 16 to 21. Missed the 2-point conversion. Big deal. Missed already 2. Big deal. On the same play. Big deal. Now, Kansas City went for 2 and missed it because they ran the wrong play. They didn't give Patrick no options. So on the second 2-point conversion in the second half, to go up 7, Andy Reid actually dials up a little play action where he has a little pitch or he can run or he can give it. And he finds Justin Watson in the back of the end zone, gives him a nice option play so he can create. Andy Reid learning. So shout out to the Chiefs. Heartbroken for Josh Allen to another year with no trophies. Lamar's probably going to get the MVP. Patrick's probably going to get another Super Bowl and another Super Bowl MVP. Nothing to show for it. Gonna be a Hall of Famer. Nothing to show for it so far. 0 trophies in his career. 0. And he's one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the league. But this is the Chiefs, man. This is MJ with the Bulls. This is Curry with the Warriors. This is Tim Duncan with the Spurs. It's Tom Brady and Belichick. Just way quicker. 7 years, 5 Super Bowls. Going for the first three-peat of all time. Do I think they can do it? Absolutely. They haven't steered me wrong yet. But we'll talk about that game later. I'm not going to talk about that game this week. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts. Just a little initial thoughts here and there. Defensive line versus offensive line. Vice versa. Both sides. Jalen Carter versus Caliendo. Are they going to move Joe Thuney back to guard? I don't think so. They're going to keep him on the edge to try to stop Nolan Smith Jr. Can they stop Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to create interior pressure? And same thing for the Eagles' offensive line. Is Cam Jurgens going to be okay? Is Landon Dickerson going to be okay? If they're not, are you going to stop Chris? Can you stop Chris Jones? Can you stop Karlaftis off the edge? Can you stop Pennell? Can you stop Dana? Can you stop the blitz? The reason the Chiefs have the edge in this game is because of Andy Reid and Spagnuolo. Yes, Mahomes is the best quarterback. But when you're talking about talent, it's not particularly close. But when Andy Reid sees that defense, he's going to try to confuse it and hit the points of weakness. I saw analysis about the game, what the Chiefs did to the Bills, and they just bullied them into man-to-man with that first drive. He broke the zone so bad with the first 2 drives. They broke the zone so bad that they just forced them into man-to-man. Once they force you into man-to-man, you're at Andy Reid's mercy. The pick routes, the slants, the screens, like the inside seams, like you're at his mercy. That's exactly what he's going to try to do with the Eagles. The Eagles might say, "Oh, but there's no real legit threat outside." They don't have a legit threat. Yeah, but they have Andy Reid. They have Pat Mahomes. They're going to dice you up. So if I'm Vic, and Vic is 0-8 versus Andy Reid and Pat. 0-8. Okay? If I'm Vic, I hope and pray that my front four can reach. Hope and pray. Because if I have to blitz Mahomes, I'm going to get cooked. I'm going to get cooked. I've already seen it. On the other side, can Jalen Hurts show what he did against the Commanders? I don't think so. Why? Because the Commanders were a bottom of the league, bottom 10 pass defense. Also, a bottom 15 run defense. Now you're facing the best run defense in the league and the second best overall defense in the league to your own. Do I think that you're going to block Chris Jones? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's going to get his way. Eventually. He's a Hall of Famer. First ballot. One of the greatest D tackles of all time. If it wasn't for Aaron Donald, he'd be the best. Aaron Donald is the best ever. Next to Lawrence Taylor. But Chris Jones right there. He demands that much attention. Don't put him one-on-one. Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, whoever, Mailata, Becton, whoever. Don't play him one-on-one. He's going to eat. And if you double him, you got Karlaftis to deal about. You got Dana to deal about. You got Pennell to deal with. Omenihu. So that's one thing. Another thing. I'm putting Trent McDuffie on A.J. Brown and not even thinking about it. That's it. I'll take my chances doubling Devontae and using Justin Reed against Goddard. And then we'll play. But I'm not letting you use A.J. Brown, And then another, is Jalen Hurts going to go through his progressions and trust the throw? If he doesn't trust the throw, Spags is going to be on his ass. He's going to put pressure on him. He's going to blitz Bolton, blitz Chanel, maybe do some cat blitzes. He's going to blitz Justin Reid. So, how does Jalen Hurts deal with that? Can he still throw? He showed against the Commanders, but that's a defense that he wasn't scared of. We'll see what happens this time. And then ultimately, can you stop Travis? Travis wasn't a factor against the Bills. The Bills double-teamed him. They doubled the shit out of him. He had 2 catches. The Eagles have gotten torched by the tight ends the last 2 games. Ertz hit him hard. Higbee hit him hard. So we'll see what they do with Travis Kelce. And then can you pressure Mahomes? And if you could pressure him, can you get there? Or is he going to escape the pocket? Are you going to let him? Are you going to run man to man and allow him to hit a seam for 10 yards and get first downs? If you allow the Kansas City, and I'm going to talk about this when I talk about the game in the next episode. If you allow Patrick Mahomes to use his legs to get first downs, you are in trouble and you will lose the game. You will lose the game. The number one thing Kansas City loves to do and predicate themselves on is being ahead of the chains. They don't want no 3rd and longs, even though they're really good at them. They don't want any of those. They want 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1. That's what they want. And you better try to stop them on 4th down when they do go for it. Because they're going to go for it sometimes. Andy's like that. The 2-point conversions, Andy's like that. They are that confident. So, shout out to the Chiefs, shout out to the Eagles. We have another Eagles-Chiefs, this time in New Orleans at the Superdome. I think it's going to be a great game, plus Kendrick Lamar at halftime with SZA. Sounds perfect. All right, let's get to the Daytona 24, the Rolex 24. Porsche wins again. This time, the 7 car. Cadillac and BMW. BMW got the pole, fastest lap of the whole weekend. 124.6, some shit like some crazy fast ass lap. They were good at the beginning of the race. They had some problems. They were still fast, and then Dries Van Thor, which his brother actually won the race. He was in the 7 car, Lawrence Van Thor, which is hilarious. So Dries was in the BMW. He did an aggressive move twice to try to pass the Porsche, and it affected him. It spun him out once, and then he got a penalty on another, and that was it. Cadillac was the biggest challenger to Porsche, but all the Cadillacs got screwed in the nighttime. The Scott Dix, not Myers-Schenck. It wasn't a Myers-Schenck Cadillac. It was the 31, which is the Wheeling. He was doing well, crashed. The former Canassi car, the silver one, which looked the black and silver one with Kamui Kobayashi, who was dominating at the early stages of the nighttime, crashed. The other one just couldn't get up there. The one with Philippe Albuquerque. And then Acura was close, but just couldn't stay there. Just passed. So they're coming up on the last hour, 2 hours. And Acura is right behind the 2 Porsches. Porsches are 1, 2, 6, and 7. It gets to around 10 minutes left. And Felipe Nasr, who's in the 7 car, passes not Dan Campbell. Yeah, actually, yeah, No, it wasn't Dan Campbell. Dane Cameron. He passes Dane Cameron in the 6 car, in both Penske Porsches. Passes him going into turn 1 after a great exit out of the chicane, the Le Mans chicane, and then never gives it back. Dane can never get close. The Acura passes him, and the Acura tries to chase him down, just couldn't do it. Got close, but couldn't do it. Porsche wins. In the LMP2, Tower Motorsports wins. In GT Pro, the Mustang wins, the 65. So they go from having so many problems last year to winning the Rolex 24 this year. Great job by them, by the American team, Motormatic. And then in GT Daytona, the Corvette wins. Designed by a Canadian, really nice paint scheme. The number 13 Corvette wins. So we have Porsche, LMP2, who is always is an Orica chassis. And then you have Mustang, so Ford, and Chevy with the Corvette. Really good race, really fun. Love watching it. Now the duels in NASCAR this week, and then next week we have the Daytona 500. Or like in 2 weeks, we have the Daytona 500 after the Super Bowl. Really excited for that. Really excited for IndyCar to start. Really excited for Formula One to start. We are heading, the Rolex 24 is the official beginning of racing season. It's the first race on the calendar besides the one in Dubai that they ran, I think, earlier in January. But this is the official start of racing season for every series. Even in March, we have NHRA starting back up in Gainesville. So, really good race. I love watching this race. I can't wait to go with the RV and my dad and my grandpa and my girlfriend and her mom who loves racing, and to go see this race. But I love this race. I love racing, period. So I just wanted to talk about that. Nothing really in baseball. In the NBA, let's talk about Jimmy Butler. Listen, 3rd suspension. They're already lowered the asking price. Supposedly, the Warriors are in the mix. The Suns are in the mix. The Bulls are in the mix. If I'm the Heat, I want Jonathan Kuminga or Zach LaVine. I don't want an aging Bradley Beal. I want Jonathan Kuminga. We can make him a defensive monster and then work on the offensive side later. Or I want Zach LaVine, who actually is a scorer, and we can develop him into a legit number 1 option with the Heat culture, and have a guy that they just don't look at Tyler and be like, okay, we could cover him. We have a Zach LaVine who could legit score 50 on any given night, has a 3, can go inside, is athletic, can finish, can get to the line. That's what I would want. You're not getting a 1st-round pick. You might not even get a 2nd-round pick. If I'm the Warriors, I go after Jimmy. Another defensive stalwart, put him next to Wiggins, have Curry, you know what I'm saying, and then become a defensive team with the explosion of Curry while you still develop Pods, while you still develop Trace Jackson Davis, and you still have Buddy Hield. That's my 2 cents there. The standings as they stand, Boston is on a 5-5 in the last 10. So is Cleveland. 6 games ahead of Boston. New York is 1 game behind Boston at 7 behind. Milwaukee is 4 games behind New York at 11 behind. Then you have Indiana 11.5 behind, so just half a game behind Milwaukee. Orlando, Paolo's back and Franz are back. I expect them to kick it up a notch again. They're 14.5 back, 6th place. Miami, 14.5 back in 7th, so we're still in the mix. Detroit, 15 back. They're still in the mix. Atlanta, 16 back in 9. Chicago, 18 back at 10. Philly's 19 back, 1 game back of Chicago for that 10th spot. Toronto's 23 back. Brooklyn, Charlotte. LaMelo's hurt again. Will be reevaluated in a week. He can't stay healthy. In the West, OKC has 5.5 game lead on Houston, who Amen Thompson just hit a game winner on Boston. That kid's going to be special. First guy from not a college to be relatively special. They have 2 of them. They have Amen Thompson. They also have Jalen Green from one's from Overtime Elite. The other one's from G League Ignite. Memphis is 7 back, so just 2.5 back, just 1.5 back of Houston for the 2nd spot. Denver's 9.5 back. The Lakers are in the 5th spot, 11 back. Clippers are in the 6th spot, 11.5 back. Minnesota is in the 7th spot, 12.5 back. Phoenix is 13 back in the 8th. Dallas is struggling. They're in the 13 back. Sacramento's 13.5 back, and Golden State 14.5 back. San Antonio 16 back, and then Portland, New Orleans, and Utah. As of right now, I still think Cleveland is the team to beat in the East. I like New York and I like Milwaukee. Boston is worrying me a little bit. I think Orlando can surprise people. So can Indiana. Still have Miami there. Detroit is kind of a wild card. Atlanta, I don't expect much from. Neither do Chicago. And if Philly gets in there, maybe. OKC is probably the strongest team in the West. I like the defense that Houston runs, but they're young. Memphis is another team that could really make a run. Denver is always a championship contender. The Lakers need something else. I don't think them being at 5 is really showing something that they're going to be, to be honest. The Clippers I like, especially if they have Kawhi, Norman Powell, and James Harden playing with Zubac. Minnesota has to figure out the Julius Randle Ant thing. If they can figure that out and Jayden McDaniels can score consistently, and then Dillingham gets more minutes and gets ingratiated into the offense more, I believe that they can definitely be contenders still. Phoenix, it all depends on KD and Booker's health, whether they're going to get Jimmy or keep Bradley Beal. They need defense. Dallas, I don't know what's happening. Luka needs to be healthy. Kyrie needs to play well. Clay needs to play well, and their defense has to play well. And then Sacramento, I don't think is going anywhere. Golden State, if they make it in, it's always interesting, but they need some definite help. And San Antonio's way too young. They only have Chris Paul as a veteran. Wemby's great, but it's going to be his first playoff experience. If he makes it in, he's in 12th place right now. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching episode 171 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, Del Velez. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Thank you for all the support. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. Follow me on all my socials. And I leave you all with the outro.